morning and welcome to the Treehouse. This is Kag and I'm here with a View from Above tarot reading. This is for Sunday, the 25th of August. We're going to use the Radiant Wise deck this morning and we're going to do a reflection reading for the day. I have, as always, deeply shuffled before we got together. And I'm just going to do just a little bit more for the energy that's present in the moment. One more, I think. Shuffling is kind of an intuitive thing, right? You can feel when you are ready to be done. And that was where we were. Okay, so a reflection reading today. This is you, me, all of us here in the collective at the moment. Here is what needs to be integrated. And after doing a little research, I've decided that the subconscious doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, it does, but to call this card, in other people when they read this card, call it the root, which also doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Some other people call it the strength, but it feels to me like this is somehow a blend of all of those things. So when I think about rootedness, right, groundedness, what is it that's holding us together to this day? And that makes more sense to me. So we're going to use this as a grounding card going forward, which I think encompasses the subconscious, the root, the strength, whatever. But this is what's holding us together at this moment. And I think that's just a better description. This is the past influence. Here is what is currently on our mind. And this is where the energy is going if nothing changes. And we've got the Centennial deck in case we need a little clarifier. We'll put Meriwether right there. Okay, so remember this is a collective reading. So take what resonates for you and leave the rest. But here's where the collective is today. The Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords. When we talk about queens, we're talking about the consorts to the kings. The kings, as I say frequently, are the rulers of the land and the people. And the queens are their consorts. They are the internal processes, the internal reflections of the energies of the card. And the Queen of Swords is the internal energy of just knowing this is what I want. This is what I think, and I'm telling you what it is, because remember the swords are words and thoughts and logic, but this is very clear about what I want and what I need. To just think about kings and queens in the tarot, the queens are the consorts again. They have some influence over the king, but usually it's in the balance of honey, you need to take care of yourself, right? This is the internal knowing of how to care for the outer you that is in charge of your own people and your own lands. So the queens are an advantage to that because they are so well versed in knowing what's going on internally in the energy. So our Queen of Swords, today you are on top of the truth about what you want and what you need, and you aren't going to be particularly shy about sharing that. Five of Pentacles. I don't think we've had that one yet. And this is it's an interesting card because it's one of the darker cards. And it is the card of loss. It is the card of lack. It is the card of feeling sorry for yourself. Sometimes I think of it as the boohoo card, but I don't mean to be glib about this. These two people they are injured, they are ill, they are outside in the cold. They don't have any shoes on. They're just really without resources. Now, what makes this kind of the boohoo card for me is that they are standing outside of the church. If they were willing to ask for help, they could go into the church and probably find sanctuary where it would be warm. It looks like the candles are lit inside this beautiful stained glass window that is there. Also, if you look very carefully, you can see that there's an anchor. Right, an anchor. And when you think about boats in a storm, an anchor will hold you in place in spite of what's going on out there. And in different decks, this one as being a darker deck, there is a sixth pentacle right here. to say that at the other side of loss is that unequal relationship of the Six of Pentacles, that you can get some help if you would be willing to ask. And so while you may be feeling some lack or some loss here, some part of it can be fixed by your own resources if you will take them. There is help available if you will go and get it. So thinking about, cutting through whatever it is that you need to say may have something to do with a loss you have experienced or some kind of lack that you are dealing with. But speaking up is again akin to asking for help. So that seems like that would be truly related to speaking up. So let's look at the grounding card, which is what we're going to call this from now on. And that is Temperance. This is the angel that is producing an alchemical event here by trying to pour this liquid from this cup to this cup. We assume that it is water. If you ever tried to do this, water goes down, but the angel here is able to make it go at an angle. That's alchemy, right? We aren't able to do that, but certainly the angel is. The angel has feet in the water and on the land. And we've got all the elements in this Temperance card, which is a great card for being grounded, staying even, staying balanced in whatever is happening up here. You've got all of the energies present, and you've got the mountains of your highest potential, the path that leads to the sunrise. You've got the water, you've got the earth, you've got the air, and the fire in the sun, and it looks like in these wings here. I am not seeing the wands, however. And I suppose that makes sense, right? If you are determined to do something, you're going to forge ahead. And perhaps if being grounded in balance maybe requires a little less, I'm doing it. Although she's certainly saying it. All right, past influences. Oh, there's the Seven of Swords again. Seven of Swords is a card of risk. It is a card of deceit or deception. Can be self-deception, can be lies, can be where we've been hornswoggled by somebody else. It can be any of us taking the risk. And the risk is leaving those two swords behind, right? So only taking 5, and he's holding them by the blades. So not only are you going to cut yourself with this risk, but the possibility of getting bitten in the backside with those that are left. So depending on your circumstances, if this is a deception that you were engaged in, perhaps you're ready to come clean about it and tell somebody. Or perhaps you have discovered this deception in somebody else and you're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. So whatever that deception might be for you, it looks like it has come into the consciousness and to the knowledge of our queen here, feeling some loss and doing your best to stay stable in the midst of all of this. And what is on your conscious mind is the devil. The devil is the energy of being trapped. This is the energy of old behaviors that somehow can take us over when we are under times of stress. And it would seem that this is a pretty stressful situation. So down here under the grounding is the Temperance card. And up here is the card of behaving as you always have in the past. And there was a woman I used to follow years ago who said, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. And so the devil reminds us that we can do things differently now. We aren't who we were back here when this happened or when we did this or whatever this energy is. We aren't who we are. We aren't who we were now. And so if you behave in this situation as you have in the past, it's probably going to turn out the same, but you have an opportunity to say, no, I'm not doing it this way. And perhaps that is the wisdom of the Queen of Swords here, is say, yep, nope, we're not doing this the same way we did it before. We're going to do this differently. We're going to do this with a more balanced energy. So where we're going in the future is the Death card, which is an expected change. Death doesn't, sometimes death is a bit of a surprise, but for the most part, surprising change comes in the form of the Tower card. This is almost an expected change, like you can see it coming on the horizon, which if we look horizontally, there is going to be some kind of a change here. The vertical cards tell us how we're going to handle it. So at least in this reading, that is what it looks like to me. So something is about to change or is changing as a result of what's happened here. And how we're going to deal with it, it's always your option, right? You can use old skills to manage this, or you can find a new way through. Temperance is your friend. Honesty is your friend. And change is not always comfortable or easy. But for the most part, on the other side, we'll find that it is helpful, even though it doesn't feel like that in the midst of it. So let's look at the bottom of the deck for that energy. And we're getting the 10 of Cups, which is the end of an emotional cycle, end of a desirous cycle. It is the happy ever after card. And I like to think of it as reasonably happily ever after, because nobody gets everything. This life has losses to it, and it has transitions where we have to leave something behind. And so when I see this card, I want to take it with a little bit of a caution to say, again, we'll get everything that we need, and maybe not everything that we want, but we will get an opportunity to live reasonably happily ever after. So the very powerful card coming at the end of whatever this change is. So again, I am not seeing any wands, which is the will. And so that makes me think just a little bit more about not wanting to be trapped by old behaviors, and to somehow find that strength within to say, yeah, I'm not doing it the same way this time, knowing that the change is going to lead to your reasonably happily ever after. So that's what I have for you today, Sunday, the 25th of August. If this reading was helpful to you, I hope that you will like, share, and subscribe. And I will welcome you back tomorrow for another reading from the Treehouse, another view from above. Blessings.